let's talk a little bit about statements you made. You've explained this a bit. You said the Jewish lobby intimidates a lot of people up here. I'm not an Israeli senator. I'm a United States senator. This pressure makes us do dumb things at times. You said the Jewish lobby should not have been, that term shouldn't have been used. It should have been some other term. Name one person, in your opinion, who's intimidated by the Israeli lobby in the United States Senate.
Well, first...
Name one.
I don't know.
Well, why would you say it?
I didn't have in mind a specific person.
Do you agree it's a provocative statement? That I can't think of a more provocative thing to say about the relationship between the United States and Israel and the Senate or the Congress than what you said. Name one dumb thing we've been goaded into doing because of the pressure from the Israeli or Jewish lobby.
I have already stated that I regret the terminology.
But you said back then it makes us do dumb things. You can't name one senator intimidated. Now give me one example of the dumb things that we're pressured to do up here.
We were talking in that interview about the Middle East, about positions, about Israel.
So give me an example of where we've been intimidated by the Israeli-Jewish lobby to do something dumb regarding the Mideast, Israel, or anywhere else.
Well, I can't give you an example.
Thank you. Do you agree with me you shouldn't have said something like that?
Yes, I do. I've already said that.
Now, do you agree with me that Hezbollah is a terrorist organization?
Yes.
Now, in 2006, you were one of 12 senators who refused to sign a letter to the European Union asking them to designate Hezbollah as a terrorist organization for the purposes of the EU sanctioning Hezbollah. Why were you one of 12 who refused to sign that letter?
Because I have generally had a policy during my time in the Senate that I didn't think it was the right approach for the Congress of the United States to be sending leaders any instructions or any documents versus letting our president do that. And as I've already
why did you sign a letter to Bill Clinton urging him to deal with the Russians when it comes to their policy against Jewish people?
Because I think that's the appropriate approach, because I think it's our president who conducts foreign policy.
Well, all I could suggest to you is that when a letter is presented to the United States Senator about the times in which we live in, you can't write one letter and not write the other, in my view, be consistent. And the letter was urging the EU to impose sanctions on Hezbollah, and you've been a big believer that we shouldn't go it alone. We shouldn't do it unilaterally. Why in the world wouldn't you take this chance to urge the European Union to go ahead and sanction Hezbollah, because that may help the world at large deal with this terrorist organization? And your answer is you just don't think we should be writing letters.
That wasn't my answer. My answer was I think the President of the United States is the appropriate official.
So Congress has no interest at all in whether or not the EU would designate Hezbollah as a terrorist organization? Do you think that's our role up here, that we should just stay out of those things?
The Congress has an interest responsibility in all things.
Okay, I got you. Now, let me, apparently not there. Now, let me ask you this about the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. You said just a minute ago you think they're a terrorist organization. You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And you voted against the amendment designating them a terrorist organization because you thought we'd be going down the wrong road by doing that, because they're a recognized state. Iran. You wouldn't want to designate the army of a recognized state as a terrorist organization.
I said that Iran is a state sponsor of terrorism. I also just clarified a statement on Iran being a recognized nation by the United Nations, by most world bodies. The reason, again, I'll explain it again, why I did not vote, as 22 other members did, because I think Jim Webb's argument was a strong argument, and that was we have never, and this is what he said on the floor, designated part of a government as a terrorist organization, thereby what his concern was, as was mine, and other senators voted against it, would this be then tantamount to giving the President of the United States authority from the Congress to take military action against Iran?
I got you. Now let me just ask you this. Do you believe that the sum total of all your votes refusing to sign a letter to the EU asking Hezbollah to be designated a terrorist organization, being one of 22 to vote to designate the Iranian Revolutionary Guard a terrorist organization, being one of two on 2 occasions to vote against sanctions that this body was trying to impose on Iran. The statements you've made about Palestinians and about the Jewish lobby, all that together, that the image you've created is one of sending the worst possible signal to our enemies and friends at one of the most critical times in world history.
No, I would not agree with that, because I have taken actions and made statements very clear as to what I believe Hezbollah and Hamas are as terrorist organizations. In fact,
if there was a vote on the floor of the Senate this afternoon to label the Iranian Revolutionary Guard the people who've killed our soldiers in Iraq, some of the most vicious people to the people of Iran themselves, there were a vote tomorrow or this afternoon or after lunch, would you still vote no?
Well, I want to know from the President what they were doing, but again...
I mean, you read the paper, you watch TV, you got any doubt what they're doing? They're expanding terrorism. They're trying to intimidate their own people. They're the instrument of the theocracy to oppress their own people, and they're the biggest supporter of the regime, keeping them in power so then they get a nuclear weapon. If you had a chance tomorrow, today, after lunch, to vote to say that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard was a terrorist organization, would you still vote no?
Well, the reason I voted no to start with...
Well, I know why. You told me that. My question is, would you reconsider, and would you vote yes this time, or would you still vote no?
Times change. I recognize that, and yes, I would reconsider, but the whole theory...
Well, thank you. That's encouraging. My time is up, but we'll have another round. Senator Inhofe said that you were one of 4 senators who refused to sign a letter in October. And the first paragraph says, we write to you to express our solidarity with the State of Israel at this moment of crisis and our profound disappointment and frustration with PLO Chairman Arafat and the Palestinian Authority. We're dismayed that they would allow violence by Palestinians to be carried out without restraint or comment. This was when the Intifada was being raging, and Senator Inhofe, led by Daschle and Lott, wanted a letter from every member of this body to clearly put us on record that we believe Arafat and the Intifada is undercutting the agreements they had reached, and they had resorted to violence to intimidate the Israeli government and people in a way that was just absolutely unacceptable. If you had a chance to do it over, would you sign this letter now? And I'm going to give it to you during whatever break we have and ask you to reconsider. I would ask you, Senator Hagel, to tell the country, the world at large, particularly the State of Israel, you made a mistake by not signing that letter.
Who is the letter to?
I think it goes to the President. Is that who it was to? It's the President.
Well, I will look at it. I don't recall the letter, and I will look at it and give you an answer.
Well, all I can say, it was a very big deal at a very important time. And the lack of signature by you runs chills up my spine, because I can't imagine not signing a letter like that at a time when it really mattered. And we will continue this conversation. Thank you.